Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is also sponsored by High Point Access. Thank you to them for their support. They are your number one stop shop for all your working at heights and roofing needs. If you mention the Blades Ramble when booking any works with them, you'll also get 10% off. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is 90 after 90. This is where you all get to have your say on the previous game. And that previous game was Hull at Bramall Lane. Oh, my goodness gracious. It wasn't pretty, was it? It wasn't pretty. I've put in the title, Luck ran out. Luck ran out and the Hull smashed the Blades, because that's exactly what happened. I think it's not been coming, this. I wouldn't necessarily say. I think that's too strong to say. But you look at the first half against Swansea and all the warning signs were there for this sort of result. We are better than you want. I wouldn't have changed any player, particularly for unless I haven't gone through it with a fine-tooth comb. But I can't think of any Hull players. Alcazette maybe, or Alzati, whatever he's called. But there's hardly anybody that you'd swap. But they turned up. They did a job on us. Ruben Sellers had them really well organised. It's not this is not a dig at Hull, because they came and did a real job on us. It certainly wasn't a 3-0 game, but I don't think we deserved to take anything from it. Just because we were the attack-minded side, we couldn't break them down. There was a dodgy referee decision in there. And if that goal is rightly given, which were given offside, Tyrese Campbell's first touch, Brewster's first touch with an assist, I think it was. And it was definitely Tyrese Campbell's first touch to put it in the goal. I think it were, I think it's a different game. But these things happen. Sometimes they swing for you, sometimes they swing against you. And we have been riding our luck in recent games. And you can't do that. You can't do that. Eventually, results will catch up to performances, whatever it is. Whatever's happening, whether you're playing really well and you can't get it to drop for you, or whether you're playing poorly and you're scraping wins, something's going to have to change. You're going to have to improve your performance, because you'll get caught like we have. Or you've got to, if you keep performing really well, then eventually results will turn. So really disappointing last night. We're freezing cold again at Bramall Lane. Just a really disappointing night overall. There are some silver linings to what happened in the game. Sunderland have dropped points today. Sunderland have dropped points at home to Plymouth, who got smashed last time out against Burnley. So they've gained a point on us. And Leeds play Burnley. So if Leeds win, they can start to pull away. And maybe that's something we have to look at. Ideally, I want a draw for this game. We'll be doing a watch-along. I've got George Motson back for Behind the Ramble on Monday night. So we'll see you over there for that. Looking forward to watching that game. We don't want a Burnley win. To be honest, it's one of them things, isn't it, now? And what I don't want, so what we're going to do tonight, we're going to get your opinion on it. We're going to read all your comments. I'll get through every comment as best I can. I'm going to take some calls from Ramblers. Anybody that wants to jump on, I've posted the link in the group. So thank you to them that's going to jump on. I've already got a couple waiting backstage. What I want us to think about, because it's been a really, really strong season so far. So it's been not plain sailing, but it's been very positive, hasn't it? Very positive. And people react to losses completely differently. Some will be able to brush it off and say, it's one bad game that caught up with us. We are going to be super stocked for the next game. Hamza Choudhury is imminent. If you've been watching the Ramble for a while, I think I dropped enough hints about that for people to know that it was going to be Hamza Choudhury of the three midfielders that came. but he looks like he's going to be imminent on a loan with an option to buy. He, I believe, is the player that's had the medical at the club today. So everything's pointing in the right direction. We need a centre half. We need a centre half. That's obvious. And we can talk about individual player performances. I don't think Nell looks half of the player when he's alongside Jack Robinson as he is when he's alongside Harry Souttar, somebody that he trusts. And that's not necessarily Robinson's fault. That's Nell's mindset. Alfie Gilchrist. What happened to Alfie Gilchrist last night? To be honest, Swansea, he weren't great. But where was Sariki? Where was Sariki to come and save the day? I didn't even hear that. Somebody's mentioned in group that Wilder mentioned a groin injury. I didn't see him mention that. So whether that's been in written press, I'm not sure. But what I was going to say was some people take losses differently in terms of some people will be fuming about last night. And I know they are because I've seen some comments in our group. But and others will brush it off. But I want us to all respect each other's opinions because football affects people in different ways, and some people live for the weekend and live for these matches and live and breathe every minute of it, and others don't, and that's absolutely fine. And however you take your football, that's down to you. Some are more casual, some absolutely live vicariously through what's happening at the club. So losses hit some people hard. That might come across as overreacting or getting unnecessarily carried away or whatever it might be, but we're a platform that respects everybody's opinions. What I'm going to try and do with everybody really is bring a bit of perspective tonight. So it's an open platform as it always has been. Only rules are that you're respectful and please don't swear, because I like, you to think you can sit down and watch with your kids and not worry about it. But you can have whatever opinion you want. If you think Wilder were at fault for team selection, if you think it were all Alfie Gilchrist, if you think it, Jack Robinson or whoever, whatever the situation is, it were Reece Norrington Davis, weren't it, last game, and justifiably so, unfortunately. So, open forum, and I'm happy to get into it now. But I've also I'm not going to acknowledge this, by the way. Connor from One Leeds has stitched me up today. I've been busy, so I haven't been able to sort of be online properly and stuff like that. I had my girls' football match this morning. It was Sophie played football this morning. They got stuffed and all, so that didn't do my mood any good. I was freezing cold there. And then I've had an afternoon at Trafford Centre. So if you think my mood were bad after last night, then here I am. So I need cheering up as well to a degree. But yeah, we're going to get into it. But Connor has been hammering me online. He's clipped me up where I've been saying how positive things are for Sheffield United, and I'd rather have Gilchrist than Bogle, and all this sort of stuff. And he's rinsed me. That is fair game. That is fair game, because that's what this is about, isn't it? That's what the rivalry's about. That's what the banter's about between the two channels. I'm mates with Connor, as you all know. I see him every week on Battle Lines over on his channel. And I've done it to him. When he's got hammered, I were the first to fire shots. So you've got to take it on chin when it comes back, and that is fair. So I don't mind that at all. And this is what being a football fan's all about, isn't it? Getting your digs in when your team's doing well and Oppo's not doing very well. So we've got to take it. We've laughed at them enough this season. Their turn to laugh at us a little bit after last night's appalling result. Appalling result. So let's get into some comments before I invite our first guests on. Scottish Blades says, "Hi, Jimmy. Great to meet you at Triple Point. What a dreadful Blades performance, but respect to Hull. I definitely think the loss of Souttar could cost us automatic promotion. Our defence is now dreadful. Can you imagine if we get promoted and play like that? We'd be absolutely trounced, wouldn't we? I get the money thing in the Premier League from a business point of view, but to be honest, I genuinely think we may be better off with another season in the Championship before getting promoted." There's pros and cons in there. It's much more enjoyable in Championship. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But we will be weaker next. We'll be more balanced because we'll have a settled side, I think. But we'll be weaker. We'll be without Vinny Souza. We'll be out without Hamer, probably. We'll be maybe without Anel. I think those three will be on the leavers list. Does it mean we don't sign Brereton Diaz permanently in the summer? Does it mean we don't sign Hamza Choudhury permanently in the summer, even though he's due to come in? So that's a huge chunk of talent, real talent, gone into it. And we might not have the finances to replace him. But I get what you're saying. So Scottish Blade, just to shout out as well in terms of meeting us in Triple Point yesterday. This lad, all credit to him, came down on the night bus into Sheffield, did what he needed to do, met with his family during the day, and sort of obviously tried to get around as many people he knew as possible. Met us in Triple Point before the match, went to the match, was clearly enjoying himself because, you know, absolutely rightly he should as well. Went back. I think he said he were going at 2 o'clock train this morning. So that is dedication, and fair play to you, pal. And I hope you had a safe trip back. Declan says, since losing Suter, we've conceded on average a goal a game. John Joe Kenny can't come quick enough. Don't want to see Gilchrist start another game. Bench option at best. It's a shame, innit, Deck? Because I really like Alfie Gilchrist, but last couple of games, he has plummeted. I don't know whether it's a confidence thing. I don't know. The thing is, as well, what we forget, and it's very easy to forget this point, actually. We are quick, me included, to give Peck excuses, Blaster excuses, even Brooks excuses, because they are our young boys. And, look, they're going to be inconsistent. They're going to be this. They're going to be that. Harrison Burrows is 22. Jezrin Raksak is 21, I think. And Alfie Gilchrist is 21. Same age as Sidney Peck. And, you know, we can't forget that Alfie Gilchrist is not an established senior footballer. And as much as he comes in with pedigree because he's from Chelsea and he's highly thought of in their youth setup, it doesn't mean he's going to consistently be great at our level. I just think we have to bear in mind that anybody that's a young lad, the thing they always struggle with, unless you're an absolutely superb player, is consistency. So if he has a couple of games or, you know, where he's under par, then maybe that's just the roller coaster that he's on, the cycle that he's on at the moment. But having said that, like Declan says here, it does look like John Joe Kenny's coming in. So it didn't look like we needed a right back until the last couple of games for me. And now, can anybody tell me where Femi Sariki was? As I say, I've heard from some little bits that people have put in the chat that it were a groin issue, which itself is concerning. Suter made Gilchrist look better than he is, says Declan. Suter made everybody look better than they are, didn't it? I put Anel in that category as well. When he were playing with Anel just concentrated on his own game. It looks to me now, and Eki Outsal was saying this last night to me, it looks like Anel is trying to do the job of two centre halves. He's not focused on what he needs to do. He doesn't trust Robinson. So he's always looking behind and he's covering and he's coming round to the left-hand side. Well, that's Anel as well. That's not, you can't just blame Robinson for that. Yes, I know Robinson isn't Maldini, but Anel needs to do his job. And if Robinson drops the ball, it's on Robinson. Don't have Anel pick up and do little bits and bats. So I don't, you know my thoughts on Robinson anyway, but Mr. V, good evening, pal. Hi, Jimmy. Don't know if Wilder got his starting 11 right for the second time in a row. I personally would have preferred starting with the second half subs, but give Hull credit for the way they're set up and played, making it extremely difficult to break through the defence. And our defence is a shadow of what it was without Suter. Gilchrist had a stinker of a game, and we missed Gustavo terribly up the blades. We had no creativity without Gus in the side, and it's a shocker. And I agree in terms of the team selection. It's very easy for us to say in hindsight, but I know a lot of us in Triple Point before were saying, I hope that's not Burrows in centre midfield. I hope that's not Burrows. I was talking to John and Aaron before game. John from Action Coach and Aaron from VMB. They were saying exactly the same. Can't be Burrows in centre. Can't be. And it was. John's saying it's got to be McCallum. Surely he's trying McCallum in there after Swansea, after Burrows at Swansea. It weren't even that, was it? McCallum were at left back, Harrison Burrows in the middle, and it didn't work. And I think it's a credit to Burrows that he rates him enough to try him there, because I think he rates him as a footballer, as do I. But he is... name me a better left back in the league, because I don't think there is one. And we're choosing to make him into a makeshift midfielder. It don't work, does it? That's one criticism I would have. in terms of people saying we should have stuck with the same lineup, we should, Bruce, I were an advocate of Brewster keeping his shirt because he got a goal. But if I told you I wasn't excited with Tom Cannon starting and Brereton Diaz starting, I'd be lying to you, because I saw the names on the team sheet and I was buzzing, like I think a lot of Blades were. It's easy for us to look back now and say, he should have done this, he should have done that. I think the only glaringly obvious one was Vinny Souza. If he could only do 45, I'd play him till half-time and get the steady first half out of the way. And then we might have to, change things up a little bit at half-time. It might have only been able to do 30 minutes or whatever he ended up doing. So that may well be the reason. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Jimmy says, tough night. Fair play to Hull for doing a job, but poor from us having zero penetration. Sariki was a miss, and Burrows needs to play out wide. One clean sheet since the loss of Suter. It says a lot up the Ramble. I agree, pal. I agree. It does say a lot. Hopefully, a solid week of training gets the new front line firing. Need a centre half. Robbo and Anel doesn't work any better than last season. It's one game. We move on. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Well said, pal. Well said. Danny says, just one of those games. They scored a sucker punch first goal. Yeah, they did. We get one wrongly disallowed, which would have changed the game, in my opinion, and they just counter-attacked us. Burrows should not be playing centre midfield. Positionally, he was all over the place and could see Peck constantly having to tell him where to be. Gilchrist had a poor first half, and Sariki wasn't used all game. Sariki went on bench, pal. He went on the bench. I think he's picked something up. We've just got to hope it's not long term. Don't need to let one result ruin a good season. Definitely need a centre midfielder and a centre back. Need a result against Derby, though. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Yes, we do, pal. Thank you, mate. Jack says, like I say, every time we lose, it's not about the loss. It's about how we lose. That was absolutely awful. I've said this for a while. We lack creativity and can't move the ball fast enough. We see this game, same pattern with how we play. Pass back and forth, side to side, slowly, and expect teams to break teams down. Honestly, it doesn't look like there's a plan, says Jack. S17 Blade says, that's what happens when you throw all your resources at forwards. Been known for weeks we needed a strong centre midfielder and centre back. They overran us in the middle of the park. Weak and embarrassing performance. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Thank you, pal. I think it's... Well, this is where I go back to. I think we've been riding our luck because we've been playing sides, putting sides out like this against Norwich and against Swansea, and we've been squeaking through. I know in Norwich was a bit more convincing. Swansea certainly wasn't. Swansea, we sort of squeaked past Swansea. They had a man sent off. Surely that is your warning to say, go as strong as you possibly can against Hull, and then we've got 8 days to regroup. Luck ran out, didn't it? And to be fair, if we'd have got a result last night, nobody would be saying, this is why you should be throwing your resources at forwards. That's my opinion. But I still trust Wilder to get the right people in. I think what he's doing is he's getting the best deals for the club. Hamza Choudhury will be coming in. I'm of the belief, and what I've been informed is he'll be coming in with an option to buy. Now, the deal all along might have been it's just a loan, or it's a loan with an obligation, but we've now got an option like we did on Brereton Diaz. So waiting that bit longer, yes, we've rolled the dice against Hull, and it's not paid off this time, but it did against Swansea, and it has done before this season. We take chances, and when you get a loss, you take it on chin, because Hull played well last night. They weren't amazing by any means, but they were very well organised. So, yeah, it's just one of them things, isn't it? We aren't good enough when we go a goal down, says Sam. We were very lucky against Swansea. I agree. At 1-0, if our goal stands and isn't ruled out, then I think we're having a different conversation. I worry for Gilchrist, who was really poor last night. The atmosphere at the Lane was so flat, it's unbelievable. Felt like being in a library. It feels as though we're waiting for something to happen to get the atmosphere going. It should be from minute one right throughout the match. It should be, Sam, I agree with that. Jack says, I can tell you now, if we don't improve creativity in our attacking, we will not go up. Up until now, we got away with it because our defence was solid, but that's not the case. This loss was coming. I don't necessarily agree with that either. And again, this is a platform for opinion, so I'm not criticising that, Jack. You're entitled to that, and this don't make me right. But I think we've been struggling to get control of the midfield. I don't think it's creativity that's the problem. I think it's getting control of the game and transitioning quicker into attacks rather than creating the chances. I think we've got more than enough talent to create the chances. You look at some of the players we've got in our side now, or we're going to be having. You could have Ben Brereton Diaz, Gus Hamer, and Callum O'Hare, or Raksaki, or you could put Chuck Brooks in there if you want, because he's been very good at times this season, behind Tom Cannon or Tyrese Campbell or Kiefer Moore. All done it, or majority have done it at this level, aren't they? And it's not, I don't think that's the problem. I think it's the layer behind, and now it's the centre defence as well. And obviously the right back's been questionable the last couple of games, which is a shame. So, new right back, John Joe Kenny. New centre midfielder, Hamza Choudhury. Choudhury and Vinny Souza together, steal. Absolute steal in terms of they will win that ball. Steve Holmes has been on about it in our chat for ages, to be fair. Get those two as your ball winners and just give it. Give it to Hamer, give it to O'Hare, give it to Raksaki, give it to Brereton Diaz. That's what you want. That's what you want in your team. You want ball winners. And then you need that rock-solid brick wall that we had earlier in the season. Who's going to replace Harry Souttar? That's the big question, isn't it? Who's going to replace him? Because so far, we haven't come close. John says, what do we often do? Play poor in the first half, goal down. We did what we often do. Play poor in the first half, goal down, but then nick a goal, then get a second for a win. All that happened, but our goal was wrongly disallowed after that Hull kicked on. That's true, John. That's true. It followed the usual pattern. But why does it always have to follow that pattern of playing poorly? We have got more than enough to start games well. That's what's frustrating about this whole thing, because it doesn't have to be like this, does it? I don't think we can say our goal wasn't ruled out. It would have been different. It would have been a different conversation. That's no excuse to play this poorly. As a team, they need to take responsibility and make the changes, says Jack, to allow us to kick on. Our attacking is so slow. It's where we have the slowest build-up play in the division. I think we do need a bit more pace involved, to be honest. But in terms of creativity, I think we've got more than enough. And look at this. Look at this. He's not about tonight, because I invited him on. The door was open if he wanted to come on, but he's, to be fair, he's not about. But so he's making out like he's watching with popcorn, but he ain't. He'll be catching up with this later. Anyway, at that point, I'm going to bring in our first guest, and it is the one, the only, Dry Bry. How's it going, pal?
Hey, good evening, Jimmy. Evening, Ramblers. How are we doing?
All right, thank you, mate. I'm all right. How are you after last night? You haven't been feeling too well, have you? Because you were due at game, and then you've been under weather. So how are you doing now?
I'm getting. I think I broke its back a bit, and I felt a bit rough this morning, but I'm a lot better today. I'm be okay. In a couple of days, I think I'll be back on form and back on track. I think, hopefully. Thank you very much.
Nice one, mate. Oh, that's good to hear, mate. That's good to hear. What did you make of the assessment then? Watching from home, a rare home game that you're watching at home.
Yeah, I think I won the raffle on that one, watching it at home rather than in cold, I think.
Yeah, you did. I wish I'd have been watching it at home. I tell you, freezing and rubbish.
I know. Well, well, it is, isn't it? We all know what it's like.
It was.
Cardiff comes to mind with me. I thought they're only me there. I was perished, absolute perished. Yeah,
to be honest, you've got your own back from Cardiff, haven't you? That's what it is, because you were one of the few of us that made it to Cardiff. So, yeah.
Anyway, I'll talk a bit about last night. I think, I've said before, it's like the biggest roller coaster in the world following Blades, isn't it? And I've just learned over years to never get too high, never get too low. And I know it affects people in different ways. And I'm not brushed it off, but I've put it to bed already. I think there's no point in lingering on it and worrying about it and thinking what's going to happen and this, that, and other. It's gone now. We just move on to the next game, into another, and just look forward to Derby and see if we can grind another. Not grind. Let's go there and win positively at Derby next week. I did mention earlier on today that what Wilder said about our schedule for the past week has been the worst. We've had the worst schedule in the Championship for games and playing 3 games in last week, and I'm sure that's had an effect on last night's performance. I really did that. I'm sure it contributed to it.
Oh, of course it does. Of course it does.
You know, when you think about it logically, what happened? We had Norwich last week, right, on Saturday. We'd probably come in for a light training session on Sunday and Monday. We're going down to Swansea on Monday night.
Shocking, isn't it?
We're coming back in early hours at morning on a Wednesday. Probably a light training session in between that or two. Then we're back on Friday. So
right.
Where's the rest days?
You've got to think as well. We play Friday night. If Leeds Burnley had been Friday and we'd have played on Monday, we would most likely, well, Vinny Souza would have had 3 more days rest, so could have probably done 60 minutes, if not more. And Hamza Choudhury would be here. Yeah. So that could be a completely different game if the schedules favoured us rather than favouring other teams. So, and that it's not something we sort of, because I think it does seem a little bit bitter, but it has definitely bitten us, this fixture congestion, particularly because we've, out of the 4 pushing, we've had the thinnest squad, and we've acknowledged that, haven't we, from quite some time. So yeah, it's we've not got Robert Green, but it did feel like we were rolling dice probably once too often last night, and it just didn't pay off. And like you say, you've just got to bank it, take it on chin, and move on, because we're not going to get beat 3-0 every week. We're too good for that, and that's not being cocky. That's evidenced by where we are in table. But it's how we bounce back from it, really. What's the mentality going to be going forward? What did you think to new lads last night? I personally thought Brereton Diaz looked a little bit rusty. If I'm honest, I thought Cannon was starved of service a little bit. I don't know how you felt about it, mate.
Look, I think this way a minute with the squad getting back to some kind of normality. You've got Diaz half fit, you've got Souza half fit, you've got Campbell half fit, right? Yeah. You've got Cannon coming into the squad. He's only probably had 1 training session, so they'll not have much time to work on him and to decide how we're going to play, because he does play off at shoulder a little bit, doesn't he? He never got any service. He never gets any service. He never got any service last night. So end of the day, we are, hopefully this week we'll start get more miles into the legs. You know, them most coming back into team like Diaz, and so we've got to be patient. Let's not beat everybody up about it. So let's just hope it's a one-off. And we're going to lose more games before end of season anyway.
And look at Sunderland today, Brian. Who would have expected them to drop 2 points at home?
That's a coupon buster. That'll be a coupon buster.
Of course
today.
It will.
You know,
well, everybody's coupon's done already thanks to us last night. But if anybody didn't include us, that's your coupon done, innit? Sunderland.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, we've been really thin on ground for the past few weeks, and obviously, and it shows with Burroughs playing centre midfield, like you mentioned. You know, he's probably played there for Peterborough, weren't he? He probably played there for them, but this is a different level.
Yeah, agreed.
Different levels, and he shouldn't be really playing there. He's filling in, and he's filling in. Of course he is. Oh no, we've lost Blaster, we've lost Tom Davies, we've lost Souza. You know, midfield's gone, so we're filling in all the time. The past few weeks, we've not played that well. We've just got away with it at times, and we've been lucky. We've ground results out like we did at Swansea, which is great. But sooner or later, it does come back to bite you a little bit, and it did. And no disrespect at all. They, like you said earlier on, they did a job on us, and they knew what they were doing. And when they go 1-0 up, and it was a good goal, by the way, because if we'd scored that, we'd have been jumping all over the place.
Absolutely right. He's got good technique, Matt Crooks. Yeah, I think he's a decent player.
And the thing is, once they've done that and start defending deep, we playing backwards and sideways, you start looking at it and thinking, well, if Gus Hamer had been playing, it might have been a different thing.
That's right.
But God, did we miss him last night?
Oh, we did, mate. We did.
You know, and we're watching it. We're at home, and that were never offside. I watched it back a couple of times. Who's offside? What's Lino looking at that?
I don't know, mate. It was really poor call, wasn't it?
I've looked it back 3 or 4 times. I'm thinking, who's offside here? Is it Brewster? Is it somebody coming back off an offside position?
He definitely weren't Campbell, because he were a couple of yards behind the line. But the only thing you can think of, it must have been Brewster. But seeing replay, he's not off. He's on. So yeah, it's frustrating in more ways than one. I'm not saying we deserved anything out of that game, really. But that turns the tide, doesn't it? Certainly swings momentum our way at 1-1, and it could have been different, like it was at Swansea, really. So it's frustrating, mate. But these things happen, and we have to take it because it's not going to change, is it?
Absolutely. All I would say to the Blades fans out there, don't beat yourself up about it. Just I know it's hard when you get done 3-0 at home. It's not going to happen every week. Leeds are going to drop points along the way. Burnley are going to drop points on the way. Sunderland dropped points today. We dropped points last night. It's a long season. You know what Championship's like. Everybody's capable. Everybody's capable. If you're complacent, you're going to get done.
That's right. Absolutely right. Can't look past anybody, can you?
No.
Right. Brilliant. Thanks for starting us off tonight. I can't let you go without giving you a plug for your new venture.
Yes,
so, Bri, for anybody that isn't aware, and you might not be at the minute because it's very new, but Bri has been coming on 90 after 90 and gets involved in all our Ramble content, which I really appreciate. And he always speaks really well. And it's given you confidence, hasn't it, to start your own little project. So do you want to explain to folk a little bit about that and where we can find you?
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Jim. Thanks for plugging.
Right,
yeah, it's going to be called When Saturdays Come, like the film. I can't have exactly the same name of the film because of copyright, but it's called When Saturdays Come, right? And I did a video today, and if anybody wants to bob on and have a look and see what you think, I'd appreciate it if anybody gives me any comments or want to like and subscribe to it. I'd appreciate that.
Good lad.
I have been as you know, I've had chats with you. I've been looking at it for quite a while now to do it, and last couple of weeks I've been learning myself about AI and Chat GPT and all that. I put quite a few videos on as just to see what's out there as a niche.
Testing waters, aren't you? Yeah, of course.
Exactly. And I managed to get nearly 2,000 views and about 18 subscribers in that couple of weeks. So I know it's out there. It's just a matter of finding, hopefully, the right content and it being good for people to watch at and subscribe to and listen to. It can not just be chat. I'll have a laugh as well. You know what I'm like.
Of course, mate. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I love it. I love it, Bright. And I'm dead chuffed that you've done it. Really proud that you do a fantastic job, Wheels, when you come on, and chuffed to bits that you're giving it a go. So more power to you, mate. And I've subscribed. So and
just a quick thank you to Paul Clark today. He messaged me back a couple of times, and he did say to me, if I need any help, he's there to help out if he can. And I really
top man, Mr. Paul Clark.
He's a top lad, and thank you for anybody. I know one or two have messaged me, and I know people are pushing me, like my son and one or two things like that. They say, "Oh yeah, go on, Bri, you can do it. You can do it.
Great, Bri.
You've got confidence." And so thank you for that, Jimmy. I appreciate that. And
no problem, mate.
I look forward to chatting to you soon and picking your brains, I think.
Nice one, Brett. No worries, mate. Always here. All right, I'll speak to you soon, pal.
Thank you so much.
See you in a bit. See you, mate. Cheers. Bye. Nice one, Bright. What a top bloke. And yeah, go and support him over on When Saturdays Come rather than When Saturday Comes, because he's found out early that he can get done by copyright for different things. So yeah, top man, Brian. He'll be producing all sorts of different types of content, we're saying. So yeah, good stuff. Lee says, how to empty 27k from Bramall Lane after an hour, concede 2 of 3 goals. Look, right, I was there. It was not empty. It was not empty after 2 goals. It was empty after 3. All right. Okay. James says, Leeds fans projecting again. They act like we gloated when they drew, but the Sky Sports highlights comments on our game and their game proves there was no gloating. Universally hated and deluded. But to be fair, James, as I say, Connor did a little clip package of me and just being confident about Sheffield United. And to be fair, I think you were trying to pull out bits where I was gloating and there were a little bit about him being mauled by a tiger and stuff like that. And it's fair game, innit? It's fair game. That's what we do. But yeah, I know what you mean. That's what it's about, though, innit? That's what it's about, because you'll remember this gloating, won't you? When they fall next time, because they will, and it might come as early as Monday. The only problem is they'll still be top at league, whatever happens now, won't they? Poor performance all around. BBD and Gilchrist were both very poor, says Beast Boy. How dare the refs rob Brewster of a wonderful assist? James Jackson says, after the crap you gave us against Hull, simply lovely. Fair shot, fair shot. Can't say any other. Jamie Dumpling says, got to say Brewster has played very well the last few games and Gilchrist needs to start playing centre half or not playing. I think sometimes you can take him out of firing line and it's just as, it's kinder to do that. He's not played well last couple of games at all. I thought he was probably the worst player on the pitch yesterday, and I rate him as a player. It's just that individual performance was not good at all last night. It looked like you could see the confidence draining from him. Jack says, get the signings in and sort the back line out, then work on our attacks and build up play because at times it's dreadful. Excuse me, 0 runs being made, awful at set pieces. Set pieces we definitely need to work on. Excuse me. It's time they step it up. S17 Blade says, I think the poorest thing of the night was that given all the firepower we had up top, we only had 2 shots on target. Is that all it was? Wow. Woeful and worrying. On a positive note, Plymouth have done us a favour today. Keep Sunderland at arm's length for now. Yeah, it does. It does. Mark says, hi, Jimmy. Hope you're okay. I am. Thank you, pal. Hope you are too. I watched the Blades on TV last night and was absolutely disgusted. The way we played. I also don't think Blades will be in the top 2. They need to win at Derby. Okay. We won't be in the top 2 if Burnley get a result on Monday night, will we? Evening, Jimmy, says Ian. With today's result at Sunderland and at least one of Leeds or Burnley to drop points on Monday, I think we've dodged one. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that, Ian. Plymouth have done us a real solid, haven't they? We'll be much stronger at Derby. Keep the faith, Blades. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. So let's just have a quick think about this. And I could have done a team if I'd have thought about it. The lineup at Derby could be Cooper in goal. Could be. This is speculative. Cooper in goal. John Joe Kenny at right back. New centre half at right centre back. Call it Jimmy Dunn. Call it Luke Woofenden. Whoever you want to call it. Anel. Left centre half, and Burrows, left back. Vinny Souza and Hamza Choudhury in the middle. We could have Brereton Diaz on the right, Hamer on the left. Hamer on the right, doing a job because he's just that good. O'Hare in the middle behind Tom Cannon and/or Campbell. It's going to look a lot better, isn't it? And look, we thought that yesterday when Cannon and Brereton Diaz started, but it's certainly going to give us a little bit more confidence, a little bit more positivity going against Derby. Expecting Webster and Chirac to appear from under their stones imminently, says Ian. Imminently being the word of the month, if you like. Helen says, I agree with Ian. We definitely dodged one. Results so far have gone our way, and only a Burnley win on Monday will knock us off second spot now. Bring on Derby, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Up behind the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, Helen. Appreciate the support. Stevie Holmes says, so we lost the game. So what? With more reinforcements to come, we have a very strong squad. Our front 6 are, in my opinion, the best in the league. There's an argument for that now, isn't there? There's an argument for that. Leeds would disagree, but we're happy with our lot, aren't we? We are, and we should be. Liam says, evening, pal, that performance was awful. If we play like that in some of the games, we will not go up. We have to sign a centre-back and a centre midfield before the end of the window. And also Kenny, as he will offer us more going forward. So please, Sunderland drew. I'm hoping for another draw. Monday, positive signs with Choudhury, having a medical today. And I think a week on the training pitch with the injured lads back and the new lads will help us work on things this week, which we need. My only worry is we look lost at the back without Suter, and I think Nelly's looking poor at the side of Robbo. I just don't know who, as Woofenden was not on the bench for Ipswich today, he would be one of my choices, pal. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Please like and subscribe. Great points by Liam. Completely agree with a lot of that, to be honest. The only thing that I'm concerned about a little bit, and it's put to bed a little bit by the early season success that we had. But we've continued this mini rebuild, haven't we, throughout January. So if we bring 5 new additions in total and we're aiming to directly impact the first team, that's a huge change to our 11. And it's new bodies again that aren't settled. We had it at the beginning of the season. I think we had 7 new faces in the 11 for the first game or the first few games. It came up to 7, the number. And we were very fortunate with how well we gelled together. Obviously, Tom Cannon starts last night. Had never played with the lads that he were lining up with. Brember and Diaz was not fit. He came off at a time when I thought he was still doing okay in the game, but it was clearly a medical substitution because he came off. I think it were like bang on 60 minutes or something like that. So that'll have been the recommendation. We're not quite in a rhythm, are we? And it's been some time since we have been. So will these players be able to adapt and work as well with each other as the lads who came in August? You've got to hope so. And if anybody can do it, it's Wilder, because he did it first time round with more lads. But it's tricky to do, really tricky. Ricky, speaking of tricky, is Tricky Ricky. It's all okay, just had a bad day at the office. We needed a kick up the backside, says Ricky. Yeah, it's never a bad thing, is it, to get a shot in the arm at some point? It's always bad to lose. There's no two ways about it. But when you try and look at the positives out of it, take the positives out of that, will you? Nipper, the Leeds fan, who joins us in good times and bad, to be fair to him. Hooray, I'm waiting for this one. Well, that's fair enough, mate. That's fair. David Vinter says, poor night. But if Campbell's goal stood, we would have a different game. We need pace. We are too slow from back to front. Keep the faith, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Joe says, on one hand, I felt quite embarrassed by the performance. On the other, I feel sorry for the lads who know themselves that they wouldn't be playing if not for the injuries or depth issues. All be good for Derby. Well said, Joe. Yeah, completely agree. And I agree with David's point as well. Like we've touched on, we are slow in terms of our build-up, and that needs to change. Steve Simpson says, it was a timely slap in the face I think we all needed. Let's hope this makes the players focus. Just hope that we haven't been sussed out at home. I don't think we have, pal. I just think we need to... I'll read the next comment in a minute. I know what you mean, but I read it differently. I just think we need to firm up, close the back door, don't we? We need to firm up that defence, get the brick wall rebuilt. So it's a huge Harry Suter-shaped hole. And whoever you put in there, there's going to be gaps in there if we think about it that way. This is what the comment I was laughing at from Chip Butty. Onwards and upwards, the Blades are going up. I didn't read it like that. I'm not going to tell you what I read it as. Those that are reading will probably be able to tell what I read it as. I also have put this in the pinned comments as requested because we have got a new line of merch. I've just... I've designed some of it. Well, I've designed it all myself, to be fair. But a lot of people who I met with last night were asking the details. Pete, I've got you. I've told you, pal. So that is pinned in the comments. If anybody's interested, now, no obligation to do that. It's just a bit of fun. And if you want to represent the Ramble out and about, then fair dues. But I'd probably buy in bulk because they absolutely rinse you on delivery, and I can't do anything about it, which is why margins are a lot lower. We have also, one thing I want to mention is we've got Dave the Nose t-shirts, and we've got Man Mountain. We've got a Dave the Nose t-shirt and a Man Mountain t-shirt. And if you buy those lads are going to get the profit from those. So you're supporting those too. Anything else goes straight into the channel, but those two shirts will go to the individual lad that you're supporting. So I think they'll probably debut them on the next 3 Mardy Blades, or they might even call in tonight at some stage if they can. But yeah, so just I wanted you to know that you're supporting those lads individually if you go for those. No excuse for yesterday, says Matthew, but it felt like the last month has caught up with us. I agree. And they've been running out on fumes, and done well to get this far last night. Was one too many for Peck and Co. Yeah, Peck looked... I thought he played okay last night. I've seen him being slaughtered in places online. I thought he gave everything last night. But he's played more to this point than he would have expected to have played all season, by a stretch. So he was going to be the backup to Blaster and Vinny doing majority of 90 minutes. He might have got 20 minutes a game, every other game. And he's been doing 90 after 90, after 90 after 90. So Julian says, knew this would happen. All of us on a high with the signings and up against 22nd in the division. Even so, I saw positives Flashes of JRS's brilliance. Sousa and Campbell impressive. Love that, Julian. Love that you can always pull some positives out of what was essentially a very bad day at the office. Nige says, good evening, Jimmy. Hope all is well. Right, firstly, to get it off my chest, yesterday was Wilder at fault for the team selection. Burrows is not a centre midfielder. He proved that against Cardiff in the Cup and against Swansea, who... Why not play? I think this is why not play Brooks in the middle and put Brewster on the right. Some serious reinforcements needed in the middle of the park and at the back. Choudhury and someone else in the middle of the park needed. Thought Cooper was poor yesterday too. Peck's poor header opened us up for their first goal. Gilchrist was not at fault for that. Now bring on the Derby regroup, up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Thank you, pal. Again, I've got a different perspective on that. I think it's harsh to say Cooper was poor. I don't think it was one of his better games. I saw some other people in the group sort of saying, why did he dally on the ball for too long? I think that's fair. I think that's a fair observation when we're trying to press and we're trying to get the attack going. He did dally on the ball at times, but it didn't seem like anybody wanted it. It seemed like players were going hiding as well a little bit, which is concerning really. So like they didn't want to be there really. In terms of, I think it's fair to criticise the team selection. I think he's we all know he's very limited in his options. That's the only caveat I'll give him with that. Burrows, he knows isn't a centre midfielder, but who else does he put there? The only option is Vinny Sousa, isn't it, for half a game? I think it's too big a game for a Billy Blacker, for example. But that just shows how threadbare we've been over the last few days and weeks. 8 days now to regroup, says Matt, and hopefully get more bodies back in for the Derby game. It's not the end of the season, just a bad day at the office. It will happen. Look at Sunderland today. It's going to happen. We looked cream crackered, says Julian. No concentration at the back. No cohesion overall. Lads need a rest and reset. We'll be back to normal next week. I hope so, pal. And I think you're probably right. And maybe if players were getting too comfy, this might be the kick up the ears to get them going again. Pete says, it was going to happen, Jimmy. We needed a reset. Too many games and a depleted squad running on empty. Hull had a bit of luck, but must not take that away from them. They played well. Up the Blades. Push on. Well said, Pete. I think bang on that. The linesman was shocking, by the way. The goal we got was onside, and that would have made it 1-1, says Matt. I really think that chances everything we got. Chances are we go on to win the game. I think that's probably right. If anybody's going to win the game from that point, I would back us. But you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. And again, you can't take it away from Hull. They got us with, I would say, the second goal were a real sucker punch, and then that were it. I think we were unlikely to turn it around, and the third just kills us, doesn't it? Paul Rose, good evening, pal. Which reminds me very well to get my banner back up. Paul Rose of Wellstone Landscapes. How are we, pal? Says, don't let the result get you down, Blades. Yes, Wilder got it wrong last night, but let's not forget he got it right more times this season and won us 60 points so far. Others will drop points around us like Sunderland have today, so keep the faith. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Missed Hamer amongst other things, says the crime scene cleaners. Evening, Jim, says Chris. And Ramblers will now have calmed down a little. Let's look at our failings. Burrows is not a midfielder. Peck looked exhausted and couldn't take a corner, so why let him? They were weak corners that couldn't really clear the first post for most of them. BBD needs minutes. He does. Gilchrist had a shocker. Fair. Campbell, not sure he even touched the ball. He looked isolated, didn't he, I thought? And that's me being kind to sort of cushion the new signing in. They did look better when the subs came on, but why did he wait so long? We need to forget about last night and start a clean sheet. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Please like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Lucky with the result at Sunderland. It was lucky that. Just need to line the sun and moon up for a draw on Monday, and we might just get away with it, says Jimmy. I think teams will sit back games for Campbell rather than Cannon. Hopefully with 2 of the 3 dropping points this weekend, it doesn't hurt us too much, says Josh. Brian says Hull were quicker to the ball and won more second balls than we did. They looked the hungrier side and played really well. We need to speed things up rather than slow it down. Fair. Ray says, should have started Campbell from the start and introduced Cannon later on. He didn't know the players around him and, to be honest, looked lost. Just glad Sunderland dropped a couple of points. Another good point, Ray. A huge contributor to the channel, so thank you, pal. I think it's easy for us to say, in hindsight, that, you know, why did he start Cannon? I would have started Campbell. I put that in my team lineup, and I was going with Brewster on the right and Brooks in the middle. Now, in hindsight, that looks better than what we got. But if Tom Cannon scores in the first 5 minutes, then it's a different story, isn't it? I have to hold my hands up and say, we're absolutely buzzing with Tom Cannon in lineup. Felt for Tyrese Campbell, felt for Brewster. And I was worried about Burrows in centre midfield, but he'll know why. There's more than likely reasons why we had to go with certain decisions last night. Hull beat us to balls we should have won. Simply put, we got out of jail with today's results. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Jimmy, I wish I'd stopped in triple points, says Rye. Service to Cannon got was awful. He were chasing shadows, weren't he, a little bit? Rev says, I haven't been this angry after a performance since last season. It's totally unacceptable. Must win these games if we have any chance. Steve says, up the Blades, up the Ramble. We were very poor yesterday. I agree with Raymond that we should have started Campbell. Gilchrist was poor for the first goal. Had we had that goal allowed, the momentum would have been with us. Yeah, that's right, Steve. Nathan says, on a match day, we were poor and dropped the ball. Sunderland failed to capitalise with Plymouth at home, and Leeds played Burnley when either one or both dropped points with a 7-day rest now and can go again. Agreed. That's the bigger picture, isn't it? So we've had a day where the cards haven't fallen our way, and we didn't deserve anything out of the game at the end of the day, but we're going to get that. We're going to get the odd knock. We were never going to go rest of the season unbeaten, were we? Nobody expected it. It just comes when you least expect it sometimes. 2 fights on the cop, not really sure what about, but sums up a bad day. That's disappointing to hear, Kyle. This is what I mean. We've got to stick together, haven't we, as a fan base? We all want the same thing. You've got to be tolerant of other people's tolerance levels as well, I think. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do because we've had people in group today saying, come on, calm down. You know, it's not end of the world. And others saying, well, we need to be getting better and we need to be winning these games. And I understand both points of view, to be honest. And it's understanding that people are going to have different tolerance levels into it to a degree and trying. And you're not always going to get this, but it's trying to come back onto the same page as each other, because at the end of the day, it's banked, it's done. We move on to Derby, don't we? And we hope that we go on and smash Derby. Because we can. Whether we will or not is a different question. Kenny's not in the Hertha Berlin squad tonight, says Luke. Yeah, I know. I think that'll be the next one after Hamza, if I'm honest. I think that the defender is the one that we need the most, and it's going to be the last through the door. The centre half, I mean. Championship's crazy, says Ray. Though any team can beat anyone on the day. So hopefully we can find our best form and put teams to bed, but some players are not up for the fight. It's disappointing, innit? It's disappointing that they didn't look up for it yesterday. They didn't look like they were going wanting the ball. Yeah. John says, Cooper had a rough night, struggled with decision-making and distribution. I can't believe you're criticising Michael Cooper. Wilder had to hold his hands up on the rest. Burrows cannot play in centre midfield. McCallum was the obvious choice. We move on to the next. Any news on Sariki? Not from me, John. No, not from me. And in terms of Wilder holding his hands up, I were really interested to hear his post-match. And he didn't, did he? He didn't hold his hands up and say that's on me. And I'm not saying it were an interesting approach. He instead went with, look at what we've done this season and look at what we've got out of these lads. And that's all right, isn't it? Because that's accepting the defeat, taking it on the chin and moving on. But we can't have a repeat performance of that, because that will be on Wilder. In terms of, well, I picked the team. It was my decision to play Burrows in centre midfield, which clearly didn't work. And I did this and I chose that. Or justify why the decisions were made. Naylor says, Wilder to blame for choosing to prioritise signing strikers instead of the obvious need for a centre-back and right-back. Okay. Hull fans were embarrassing, singing "You're getting mauled by the Tigers," and we're embarrassing by getting mauled. But we were embarrassing by getting mauled by the Tigers. It's an awful chant, isn't it? It's an awful chant. But they were enjoying themselves yesterday, and so would we be. So would we be. You've got to let them, haven't you? You've got to let them when they come. And not many teams, no team this season has come to Bramall Lane and done us 3, and they did. I hope for a draw between Leeds and Burnley, says Steve. Sunderland drew today and only gained 1 on us. Yeah, no, it's great, that. It's absolutely brilliant. I am behind on these comments. Our defence looks a shadow of the defence we had at the start of the season, says Rev. We need a first choice centre back ASAP. Anyone know where the linesman is from that ruled out the Campbell goal? I heard he's a Sunderland fan. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Lee says, as a Leeds fan, I think that in the best interest of Sheffield United, you should hope that Leeds beat Burnley. Yes, we pull away, but it leaves you in a far better place for second place. There's a lot of Blades that think like that, Lee, to be honest. I can't quite bring myself to cheer for the mighty Whites. I'll be hoping for a draw. I'll be watching Monday anyway, behind the Ramble. See you there, Lee. See you there on Monday. I'm with Jord Motson. I'm trying not to let the whole game influence how I feel, says Toronto Blade, but we lack creativity, we lack athleticism, and we lack pace in the squad. I agree with the latter two. We really need one or two centre-backs and one or two midfielders, box-to-box. Well, we're not going to get a box-to-box midfielder, I don't think. I think Tom Davies is your box-to-box midfielder. Gus Hamer could do that job alongside Vinny Souza. Those two together would be formidable as well. But it's going to be Hamza Choudhury, another ball winner, and, you know, a bit of aggression in the centre of the midfield. I think when John Joe Kenny comes in, Alfie Gilchrist will move to backup centre half, and we'll get a starting centre half to go alongside Anel. That's what I'm hoping for anyway, Toronto Blade. 168 views, only 22 likes. We've got 716 here, Stephen. Come on, Blades, we can do better. Thank you, pal. John says, how the linesman called offside is beyond me. First, he was 5 yards behind the ball at the time. Where is the accountability for bad officiating? Don't get me wrong, we deserve nothing, but wow. Even if you just give us the point from that goal and that's how the game finishes, it'll be really interesting to see how that shakes out at end of season. And yes, you get these decisions for and against you. I understand all that. And it's supposed to even itself out, which it never does. And I'd still rather not have VAR in the Championship because I can't stand it. But you're right. You're right. It's poor officiating. It's really poor. That's cost us the game. And again, we're not saying we John's in agreement here. Not saying we deserve to win the game. Not saying we necessarily deserved a point in the end, the way we played overall. But that changes the momentum of the game. And I think with us equalising, coming back, we then up our levels and we go on and we probably win the game. Dean says, I can cope with the booing at full time, but not at half time. That's not support. A lane's not intimidate. And that's not support. The lane's not an intimidating place anymore. End of the day, Hull were better than us. We look tired and disjointed. Always. Blades always up the Blades. Completely agree. We did look disjointed. That's a key way of describing it, to be honest. I think that's fair. Toronto Blades says, I know people are high on Hamza, but we'll have to way progress the ball before he'll end up playing hoofball. We need ball playing progressive midfielders. I'm not concerned about it particularly. I mean, it may prove different. He's certain what he is an absolute quality backup to Vinny Souza first and foremost. I also think he gets in currently. I think he gets in alongside Vinny. So you're going to have two ball winners in there. And I think they just give it to a Callum O'Hare who breaks the lines and links the midfield and the attack. So I'm quite happy with this. And I think Hamza Choudhury's been linked with us for some time. And then we get names like Shea Charles, who were thrown in for giggles. Never happening. I never once completely agreed with that happening. Again, the internet, being on the internet can work for and against you, but I've been on the Hamza Choudhury train all the way through because I always thought it was going to be Hamza. Because he's been circulated for so long, people aren't as excited or don't appear to be as excited about it, but he's a very good player at this level. Very good player. I'm really pleased with it. Really pleased. I know Tommy Doyle got mentioned as well, which obviously pulls on some of the heartstrings of Blades, and I get that too. But yeah, it's great signing, Hamza Choudhury. Sadly, I think Leeds and Burnley are the standout teams, says John. I've said that for months and been laughed at that we'll end up in the playoffs with Wednesday, and I dare not think anymore. Oh no. Poor game, Burrows into midfielder. So many had a bad game. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe, says Rossi. Thank you. Lee's laughing at Connor. Ducky Fuzz says 10 million plus add-ons for Cannon is a lot for a player who can't get a game at the Foxes, especially at the state they're in. The levels are ridiculous, Ducky Fuzz. And the other thing is, Leicester fans have gone balmy. A lot of Leicester fans, if you read online about them selling him, I've gone balmy about it. You've got to think as well, if PSR wasn't a thing, we wouldn't be getting this Tom Cannon deal because they wouldn't have to sell. They're selling one of their assets with a huge upside to a championship club, a league they're probably going to be in next season. They could do with him themselves, but they are risking it all to get a player in who's ready now with this money that we've given them. Connor, the plastic Leeds fan that lives in Oldham. Come on, Rye. Come on, Rye. No need. No need. Rossi says, forget and move on. Results went our way today. Just hoping for a Burnley Leeds draw, and then it hasn't been that bad, says Rossi. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Get that Leeds shirt ready, Jimmy, says Carl. Oh, fair play. Thank you, pal. Mark says, evening, Jimmy. Remember Villa away 3-0 up. Easy ended 3-0. We kicked on and got promoted up the Blades, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. I do, mate. Yeah, I regularly talk about that game because that was the game where we threw away a 3-goal lead in something like 8 minutes, and it looked like things were starting to unravel. Wilder basically shut them in the changing room and said, police that yourselves. Now, the only thing about that is, do you think we've got the same leaders in the squad as we did then? We had big characters, Billy Sharp, Jack O'Connell, Chris Basham, John Egan, Dean Henderson, George Baldock. I don't think we've got the same leaders currently. Currently, it's a very young squad. So it's a huge test for them to keep their heads and go again, which is why I think he wanted experience to come in as well. Kyle says, think we need another midfielder on top of Choudhury. Set pieces were not close to being good enough. We really need to work on those. It's been a problem for a while for me, that Kyle. Wilder has an embarrassment of attacking riches now at his disposal, says Michael. What he now has to work out is which personnel is the best fit for the first 11. Does he play Cannon and BBD or Campbell or Kiefer? It's a great problem to have. And I think what we should start to be doing is, I like it when we look at ourselves and we look at which players work well together. Kiefer and O'Hare don't particularly click, for example. But I also think there's an argument to say, look at your opposition. If we're going up against a Millwall with a big lump up top, at back, like Jake Cooper, Cannon and or Campbell for me is the way to go. There's a bit of mobility in and around them. If it's going to be somebody who's quite slight for a centre half, and you think you can maybe muscle him about a little bit, Kiefer Moore might be the way to go. So it might be horses for courses, to be honest. That might be how we choose to play it. Cooler King says, surprised to see both BBD and Cannon in the starting 11. The forward line lacked cohesion as a result. Has to be said, Hull played very well and were good enough to exploit the Blades' weaknesses. Yeah, I think that's fair, Cooler King. Evening, Jim, says Bran. This defence is nowhere near good enough. Gilchrist and Robbo shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11. Question marks over an L2. It will be playoffs for us, unfortunately. Too early to say that, Bran. Too early. We are... Gilchrist is not all that, mate, says Lee. I can't disagree. Can't disagree. I think he's in a poor run of form. I think he's a good player that's low on confidence at the minute. And yeah, it's not going well for him. Not a single Leeds fan wanted us to beat Burnley, so don't come on here acting all high and mighty, says James, trying to tell us we should be hoping you beat Burnley when yourselves do the opposite. James, okay, mate, calm down. Playoffs for you then. Lads, come on. Let's be friendly. I was a bit unsure of the price tag for Cannon, says Stephen, but I get he has a lot of potential and he has done it on this level before. Personally, I wouldn't have paid more than 7 million, but January has inflated price. It's January premium, isn't it, Steve? Rev says, send Raksaki back. I don't think he's offered much this season, and now coming back, he looks even worse. I thought it looked okay yesterday. I thought it looked bright in different spells. Let's have a look. Jack says, I think blaming Robbo for Anel's lack of trust is not fair anymore. Well, I didn't. Anel is just at fault for his own performance, which is what I said, Jack, to be fair. He should be hitting the same levels as he achieves with Suter. Yes, I completely agree. One-man team without him, you are lacking ideas. Just a long throw team. Pour that, Lee. Pour that from you. Not true either. And to be honest, Hamer was in our side against you that was probably, alongside this whole game, one of our worst performances of the season. So certainly not a one-man team. It's our problem at the moment is how we make all the pieces fit, and we've still got a couple of gaps that we need to plug in this January window, and we will. Keep Melier in net though, mate, and keep giving everybody a chance. Appreciate it. Tough one to take, says Will, but it has been coming. New lads through the door, and let's go smash Derby. Love that, pal. And at that point, I'm going to bring in another caller. So welcome to the Ramble. It's Ricky. How's it going, pal?
Yeah, right, mate.
I'm okay, mate. How are you after that?
Still disheartened, mate.
Oh yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Hey, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one to take. But we've got to take it on chin, Rick, haven't we? We've got to take it on chin and move on.
Yeah,
it's not changing.
You know what makes it harder? We lost 3-0 at Bramall Lane, mate. I thought we turned it around. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been so bad if it were away, but it were at home.
I know. But doesn't that just highlight where our weaknesses are? I mean, I don't want to go so deep as to sort of think about the character of the team. I just think we're absolutely spent. I think we've been
lost.
Yeah, I know.
Cannon, he was like, we shouldn't have been even on pitch, mate. He was non-existent all game. Ben Diaz, he had one decent run about 5 minutes in. That were about it. Burrows is not a midfielder. We're just getting out muscle in midfield badly. I mean, badly. And everyone can slate Gilchrist saying he had a terrible game and all that lot, but I think issue is, if you look when Suter were there, Suter were constantly talking to Gilchrist and now letting him know, you'll go forward, I'll stay back, blah, blah, blah. And now doesn't do that.
Leader.
Yeah, exactly. Robbo's drifting out into positions where you're thinking, what's he doing there? Do you know what I mean? At one point, I think I seen him on right wing, and I'm like, what's he doing?
Yeah, you did. You definitely did, because I did and all.
Yeah.
And he's captain. And I'm trying to pull back from Robinson a little bit, because I don't want it to feel like I've got a real, because people know my opinion. I don't need to keep repeating it. Yeah. But Gilchrist, I think, as well, I know what you're saying in terms of, I don't want to go too hard on the lad, because we forget he's a young lad himself. We're quick to give Peck a pass. We're quick to give, Brooks a pass when we can and stuff like that. But he's only 21, and Raksaki's the same. Coming in and he's not flying and stuff like that. But just because they've come from Premier League clubs, don't mean they're going to be a finished article. That's why they're with us. So there's going to be dips in form, and I just think it were one push too far last night, and we need them recruits in. Were you a big advocate now at John Joe Kenny coming in, for example?
Well, I weren't at first, but I think we might need him. But personally, I think we need 2 centre-backs. I think we need one to start. I want to put a bit of competition there, because I think Canel and Robbo's had a free ride since Suter's gone. I mean, Canel upped his game when Suter were there, but I think that was because Robbo was challenging him. Do you
not think Gilchrist moves to be that centre-back competition behind? I don't mean as a starter. I mean, when we've got Kenny and Sariki at right back, Gilchrist then probably comes in. And if we were still in Cup, for example, him and Robinson might play. So
possibly, but what we've got to remember is if we are getting Choudhury, we can play right back as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Then there's Shackleton as well.
That's also true.
But is there, and it's like Ben Osborne. I mean, there'll be a couple of times where we need him. I mean, do you remember last season when Ben Osborne come back and it was just effort everyone praised him for?
He's like a Swiss Army knife, and he can play in loads of different positions. He always gives you maximum effort. His quality might not always be there, but he does give you maximum effort, and that's what we want in it first and foremost. We want players to give everything for shirt.
I think that yesterday, though, we lost fight. I mean, the only person what I seen give a bit of effort, and that was Campbell when he come on. I mean, you had players what were on pitch for 75 minutes, and they weren't bothered. As soon as it
was pedestrian, weren't it? It was just pedestrian performance. It weren't. It was so uninspiring.
It was like we keep doing these little silly things. It's like Peck gets headers and he's just knocking them down. He's not looking where he's trying to pass it to or out like that. He's just knocking it down, and they
saw that, into
it numerous times. And then this with Cooper, I mean, I get what he's trying to do, build up play front back and all this lot. But when you got Burrows on left and Gilchrist on right, there's no players near him, so just quickly get it out. Do you know what I mean? Stop trying to wait for someone to make a move. I don't know if they're doing it because we've got no pace in team to get forward quick enough or what. But
or has he been told it's got to go to one at centre halves or something like that? And unless you press, I don't know.
It's a dangerous game.
It is. I agree, particularly when Robinson's one of your centre halves. But again, as I say, I'm not going to keep on at that. That's
Do
just
you know
how
what
it
it
is,
is?
mate.
It's like, I seen some stats come up earlier. I think when Salter played, we only conceded 10. I think
Yeah.
that we're in 17 games, something like that. Since he's been gone, we conceded 17.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? That's
Exactly.
ridiculous. Oh, it's a glaring weakness for us. Oh, if you have your pick, before I let you go, mate, if you have your pick of centre halves to come in, realistic, obviously, who are you pipping for at the moment?
Either Jimmy Dunn, 6 months left, so I guess that'd be a pair, or that Wolfenden.
Yeah. I think their names in conversation at the moment, aren't they? So
if I greedy, I'd go for both. Do you know what I mean? But you can't be that greedy.
Well, you're not going to play them both, are you? Because Anel will be in the team. So
but I think if you get them in squad, I think it ups Anel as well, because then he knows he's got competition behind him.
Well, like you say, if you bring in one centre half, then Anel's going to play anyway, isn't it? So it doesn't necessarily up his levels and sort of think he's threatened. But yeah, we'll see.
I just think we need a bit of competition, because I think, like I said, like Robbo, perfect example. He's got 3 rides. There's no one there challenging him. I mean, we've got Baptiste, but he's still young. He's never going to take his place this season anyway.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
He's only still around on bench, isn't he? Because we've not got any cover. He could be out on loan, getting minutes himself, to be honest. But
exactly.
Nice one, Rick. Well, thank you for that, pal. Anything else you want to cover while we're together?
No, you're all good, mate.
Nice one, mate. All right. Well, thanks for calling, and I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, see you in a bit, mate.
See you, pal. To that. Thank you to Ricky for that. And without any further ado, I'm going to jump straight into another call. And it's somebody you all know.
David knows, he really knows where the wind, I know his spurs blow. Smelly break, he's in the know. David knows, steals the show.
Dave the Nose, he really knows.
There we go.
Look at that. Dave the Nose.
Smelling good and looking even better.
Bit of fresh Leary merch. Love that. Get it
It's
in your
lovely, this,
comments. You know.
It's a lovely t-shirt, this, you know.
It's nice quality, isn't it?
Great.
It's nice. Yeah. I know.
Really
I was
good.
worried when you said medium originally. I thought he's going to blame me if this is too small, isn't it? But it looks well, mate. Looks well.
It wouldn't be the amount of food I smashed into my mouth over Christmas. It'd be your fault.
Yeah, true. How you feeling, mate? How you feeling after that yesterday? The game.
I'm okay. I wanted to cover off just something before that's off the pitch related.
Okay.
Because I've had a few people message me directly, and I've had a few people talk to who watch the channel, who speak to people that I know and have said that I've not seen myself over the past few weeks, which I've always kind of thought when I'm on, I have been, and then I've gone back and watched myself and can see that sometimes I've got what I'd call resting miserable face when I don't look particularly happy. So
more so than usual as well.
More so, yeah, not really Mardy, more really, really fed up. So I'm not one for sharing, and I don't want to make this about me, but
Floor's yours, mate. Floor's yours.
Yeah, my mum sadly passed away just before Christmas, so I've been basically just going through that over the last few weeks. But publicly, I wanted to say a big thank you to you, and as a mark of the type of man that you are, that it was a funeral yesterday, and you were there, and I didn't know you were coming, and you'd actually gone to the effort of finding out where it was and taking time out of, I know you've got a lot on yourself, and what you've been through with it in the past, and potential for stirring up memories and that. But the fact you were there meant more to me than I think I can put out into words. And I just wanted everyone to kind of know, because I think sometimes people jump on the internet and think, I don't like an opinion of someone, and think they know what that person is, but that's who you are.
Thank you, mate. You certainly didn't have to do that publicly. I know we had a chat over text, didn't we? And I knew you were grateful, but I didn't do it, as a favour. I did it because we're we're mates, and that's what I wanted to be there for you. And again, a little bit like you're saying, you don't want to make it about you. I didn't want to sort of, hey, I'm here. It certainly wasn't about me, but I just wanted you to know that I was thinking about you, and yeah, I wanted to be there for you. So yeah, I'm more pleased with that you're okay than anything really. I know it was obviously a horrendous day for you yesterday and your family, but you've carried yourself with such dignity throughout it all, and I think you did the same yesterday. And I think you've done her and you've done yourself really proud, mate. So yes, a touching moment on the Ramble, I suppose. But thank you, mate. You didn't have to do that live. That's not. No. I certainly didn't.
I felt like I wanted
to. Okay. Well, thank you, mate. Thank you. So it seems a little bit, off kilter to shift back to the game a little bit. But what's your overall perspective, mate? Being in I know, but being in a perspective where there's so many more important things than football, how does that sort of change your perspective on the game last night, or are you still absolutely raging with performance despite everything else?
Do you know what? I'm not. I was never really raging. I thought it looked a really tired performance, and I think Dry Bright hit the nail on the head earlier with the schedule and what they've had to cope with this week. They just looked, I think, not just physically tired, but mentally. I thought Alfie's, I don't so much criticise him for their first goal, because I think he was way off balance, but his passing was just sloppy and just a bit off it. I thought just all over the place. We were just half a yard off everything. And it just built Hull's confidence as the game went on. They just got stronger. I felt they got more and more control of the game. We never looked like scoring. In fact, the only bit I was raging at was Raksaki when he missed that.
Scoops it, iron. Oh,
yeah. I was. That's the only time I think I actually shouted out. So yeah, don't really blame him. I think, the Vinny Souza thing, but. We brought him back in too quickly last time, and it put him out for even longer. So I get why there was caution there not to go with that.
I do. It's just we know that Burrows
Campbell actually, but
yeah, I did too. I thought Campbell would start and Cannon would come on. I didn't expect to see Burrows again at centre midfield after Swansea and then Cardiff, but he were there, and it just shows the lack of options that we've had. And I honestly just think, like you said, absolutely shattered, ran out of options in terms of who to play where, and roll the dice one more time and hope we can scrape through this game. And it just didn't work for us. It was one game too many. And, we've been lucky that it's only been that game really that's let us down. I know we've obviously had stumbles along the way a little bit, but we could have, with the personnel available to us, and I don't mean that any of them are bad players particularly, but certain positions seem to have been really hit. Centre midfield being the primary example, really. Centre half now being a strong example. We haven't got the personnel, even though we've got talented players, we haven't got the personnel to naturally slot in at centre midfield. So he obviously rates Harrison Burrows as a footballer, puts him in centre midfield, and it just don't work. It didn't work. So
it's his passing ability that he's put him in there for.
Yeah. And the balance with the left foot as well. He's quite a technical player, isn't he? So it's I'm not saying if he didn't work on it, he couldn't become a decent player, because he's a good footballer. He's not just a good left back. I think he's a good footballer, but he's probably, as I say, I don't know a better left back in the league. I certainly wouldn't rather have anybody else's left back in our team. Play your left back in his strongest position. I wouldn't mind trying. When I was talking to John before game in Triple Point, we were saying, well, maybe he's trying McCallum in centre midfield, because it's not a natural fit, but nor is Burrows, and we know Burrows don't work. So at least we know left back's solid. McCallum might be able, leaning on that left hand side a little bit, might be able to try a little bit there. But we were talking about a one-off last night, because Vinny Souza's coming back. Hopefully Tom Davies is coming back. Hamza Choudhury's coming in. So that's 4 with Siddy Peck. So hopefully we no longer have to put those square pegs so much in the round holes. Rian Brewster finished the game in centre midfield. That's where we were.
It were bonkers that we had at one point. I'm sure we had Siddy Peck at right back, and Ryan Brewster in centre midfield.
We did.
Just,
That's how we finished game. That's how we finished the game, which is crazy.
yeah.
Did
I
you?
don't
Do
think
you?
Burrows,
Go on.
Go on. I was just going to say, I don't think Burrows will become a centre midfield. I think I can't think other than occasionally someone like Rooney dropping into play centre midfield at the very end of his career. I can't think.
Yeah,
of
Ryan
many
Giggs,
who started out as other positions and ended up in centre mid. I can't see a left back ever ending up in centre midfield. He'd have been a centre midfielder by now if he could have.
Agreed.
He was built for it.
Agreed.
He's a sort of left fullbacks. Rightly or wrongly saying this, fullbacks more often than not end up fullbacks because they're not quite a centre back or a wing.
Wow.
Nobody grows up and wants to be a Gary Neville. I think.
Nobody grows up wanting to be a Gary Neville, do they?
Yeah.
That was the same, wasn't it? So yeah. Wow. Okay, I agree with you, mate. I agree. Anything else you want to cover while we're together, mate?
No, that was it. On to the next one. Move on quickly. Big week ahead in terms of incomings, and don't get too down about it. We're going to lose games. I said this to Kate last night when we were watching. She was getting frustrated. We're going to lose. We're going to lose. Got to get used to it.
I was saying the same to Eki Artsal. We should have stayed at home and watched Traitors instead, but never mind. I was there at the lane, as were you. So never mind. That's what we put ourselves through, innit, pal? Right.
That's what we do.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend with your family, pal, and I will catch up with you next week. All right, mate.
See you later. Take it easy.
Cheers, Davey boy. Nice one, Dave. What a top man. And I can't. I'm way behind in comments, but I can't not play him out because it's only right.
David knows, he really knows where the wind, I know his first blow. Smelly break, he's in the know. David knows, steals the show.
Right, 10 minutes. 10 minutes to go in the show. Technically, we are going to go into injury time. I'm pretty sure of it. But let's motor through some of these comments because I'm over an hour behind them, so I'm sorry. Toronto Blade says, frustrating. We're trying to play with wingers, but our wingers are the weakest players in our squad. Hopefully, Brereton Diaz helps the left side, but we desperately need something on the right. Brooks and Raksaki are not good enough right now. I think it might end up being Gus, I think it might. I think he might persist with Raksaki a little bit once Raksaki's up to speed. But how else do you fit everybody in? Because it's ultimately going to be a choice between Raksaki and Hamza Choudhury, because Hamer plays in one of those two positions for me, doesn't he? The others, Vinny Souza at centre midfield, O'Hare in the 10, Brereton Diaz on the left. So it's right wing or centre midfield for Gus Hamer, and the other one is Raksaki and Choudhury. So that's my thoughts on it. Michael says, of these new signings, might not be time to build better team style of play and build on an understanding with each other. Not sure if there's time to do that. They have to hit the ground running. Hamer was a big miss. I completely agree, pal. This is what we were talking about earlier, isn't it? He did it at the beginning of the season. It's a big ask to do it twice in one season. We're playing in a system with wingers, says Jack, but not using them as wingers. The only team that don't take their man on. We've got inverted forwards, haven't we, essentially? We've got a right footer on the left and we've got a left footer on the right. So they come inside every time and it's predictable. Sam McCallum was having a great game and got took off. I thought he was playing all right as well, to be fair. Yeah, I did. I can't say any other. Cannon never had a sniff, says Andy. Gilchrist is crap. I can't beat a side like Hull. No chance of going up. End of story. Andy, I think I accused you of being David Webster in disguise last time, didn't I? But look, again, like I've said at top at Ramble, I don't. That's your opinion, isn't it? And that's absolutely fine. I think we are a lot better than that performance last night. It's just these happen from time to time. I listened on the radio, says S. I didn't realise Cannon was playing until just before half time. There you go. That shows how little involvement he had. Whether you blame the service to him or him himself. It's scary how much of a miss Hamer was. No creativity without him. How can we not create with the talent we have? Baffles me. That's what I mean, Rev. We didn't create last night, but we do have the creative talent to create. So I'm not concerned about creating the chances. I'm more concerned about the athleticism and the pace in the team in the transition to the attack. Hamer back for the Portsmouth game. Yes, he is, pal. 3-1 Man City, says Bry. That shows how far behind I am in comments. Why don't you go to away games, Jimmy? It's a trade-off for family time, Andy, to be honest. I can't commit every weekend. Some can, and fair play to them. But I can't commit every weekend to United. I watch every game, obviously, but I can't take the whole day out. It's an afternoon out for me, complete afternoon out when we're at home, and it'd be sometimes a whole day out for away games. So that is the choice I've made with my family, that I'll spend family time, as long. And the only caveat is that I get to watch the game when we're away, and I'll now do watch-alongs as well when we're away. Okay, James and Lee, I ain't got time to keep going back and forth. These results happen, says Liam. It shouldn't just happen at home. It just shouldn't happen at home. That's what Ricky was saying, really. It's disappointing that it happened at the Lane. Didn't see the result coming, especially with your new signings. Stay humble with Burnley coming up. Stay humble with Burnley coming up. It's how you bounce back that counts. Well said, Liam. One of our friendly fire Leeds fans in the chat. Away to Derby next week. They're bottom 3 and fighting relegation like Hull, and will fight tooth and nail to avoid defeat. Relegation threatened teams can be really dangerous opponents, as Hull showed. I agree with that, Michael, but we are a wounded animal, aren't we, at the minute? We're a wounded animal, and it's, yeah, there's, I would not want to play us coming off that poor performance, really. I wouldn't want to play us. Jack says we just lack the consistency, and if we were actually more positive on the attacks, we could be a lot better. Maury says, to be fair, it's a stinger, but we've got to move on. Teams will drop points, and people forgetting Ruben Sellers is a good manager. I agree with that as well. We'll end up in playoffs, says Andy. Fairfield says, been coming for a while, that, outside of maybe the Norwich game. I can't remember the last time we played well. Paul says, hi, Jimmy. Well, the bubble anticipation burst with a bang. Back to the ground now, onwards and upwards. Once a blade, always a blade. We're used to it. Up the blades, up the ramble, up behind the ramble. Hit the like button. Come on, you blades. Thank you, pal. Russin says, when Gus is out there, he's always trying to hurt the opposition with hurtful forward passing. Somebody needs to say, I'm going to be that man against Derby. Gus missing would hurt any team in this league. Absolutely, bang on, it would. Jimmy, in your opinion, what would be the best result in the Blades, the Burnley Leeds match? It's a draw for me. It's got to be a draw. Clicks Rage says, from a Leeds fan, I'm happy with the results. I'm sure you are, pal. I'm sure you are. I don't think Anelli's confident in Jack Robinson. I agree. Jared says, Sariki with the same injury as before, it seems. That's not great, is it? Do you want Melier, says OG? No, thank you. No, thank you. Phil says, the only time we need more, he's missing. Yeah. Does Wilder know his best 11? Should have stayed with Campbell, not someone that signed this week, and get Gilchrist out of the team. He's out of form. That's glaringly obvious now, isn't it, about Gilchrist? We missed him a big time, says Roy. He's arguably the only one who can dictate the game. Neil says the result is what we know was coming. That's why we needed signing soon rather than later in the window. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Jimmy, I saw Connor's video montage of you regarding Leeds throwing away a 3-1 lead away to Hull a couple of weeks ago. I must admit, it was very funny. Yeah, it was. And it's fair, Michael, in it, because I give it, so you've got to take it. Kay Lee says, let's be honest, the Prem doesn't need Sheffield United. They spend all season in the bottom 3. James L will keep whinging about the mighty Leeds. We love it. Thank you for joining, Kay Lee. Leeds will pull away now, enjoy the playoffs, and keep on rambling. I don't know why people think some Leeds fans are entitled. I don't get it. One Leeds fan channel is laughing at you. Ha ha ha, marching on together. Josh says, starting Tom Cannon and BBD was poor. It was too early for them. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. But I bet you were excited to see him in lineup, weren't you? Like I was. So it's easy to say that now, isn't it, I suppose. Brooks in the middle. For me, we shouldn't have started with Cannon. Only signed the day before. It was a very odd team selection to a game that we should be winning. No disrespect to Hull. It's just a blip, says Northside, with a nice little italic there that I've not seen before. Up the Blades. Sick to death of Sky dictating the game schedules. It's a right joke, says Nige. Need to stop sooner than later. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Ducky Fuzz says it's only one game. We all do the same. One bad result and it's all over. This is the championship. Absolutely right. It could massively swing next week, couldn't it? You know, Leeds and Burnley might draw. Then say Leeds draw. I don't even know where they've got, but say them draw. They don't go over and steamroll the next team they play, and we win. We beat Derby and Portsmouth. That's it. Sheffield United are winning league. We're way too reactionary, and it's understandable because we're fans and we live and breathe it. But hi, Jim. Firstly, I want to say that this result doesn't define our season. Remember Borough 2 seasons ago? Absolutely, pal. Also, I don't want to see anyone slating BBD or Cannon. Both are very good players. Faith in Wilder. Right, I'm just going to skip down some because we're into injury time just about. Brewster was called offside, Jim. It was tight and could have been called either way. Fair play. Corinthos Blade. I think it were... Is it a Blades YouTube channel? It certainly is, pal. You know that. You know that. Lee has not let up. The first long pass was given as offside. Russin says, not sure putting Cannon straight in was the right move. Put the lad under the cosh from the off. How many times has he trained with us? Then because he's not hit the ground running, he's getting hammered by some. He can't get hammered. He can't get hammered by anybody. Rice says, evening, Jimmy. Yourselves and Sunderland with shocks. Long way to go yet. Anything can happen. Well said, pal. I agree. And Rise a Leeds fan. Ben says, I thought we looked really tired from the first whistle last night, especially at the back. Adding players returning from injuries who aren't fit and new players on top. There's no wonder we lost. Jake says, need midfield bodies ASAP. We spent most of the game going backwards and sideways, desperately missing a presence in the middle. Been a common problem throughout the season. Vinny Souza, Hamza Choudhury. Brilliant, that, innit? Brilliant. That's what we need. Up the Tigers, says Big Bill. Fair. We were stocking, says Happy Chappy. We were shocking. Robinson extremely poor. Alfie was extremely poor. Wilder got it so wrong. I'm not buying the whole one game too far. Fair enough, pal. Fair enough. Jimmy, can you link Bry's channel, please? I can't find it. I will try and get it linked somehow. I'll put it in comments at the end if I can. Or Bry, if you want to comment and put your channel details in below. Evening, Jimmy. Pleasure to meet you again last night at Triple Point. Good to meet you too. Kieran up. Claire's all right as well. Such a frustrating game. Onwards to Derby. Up the Blades. Up the Ramble. Up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. I've seen his edit and it is good. I even commented on it saying that I think you'd like it. But Leeds fans acting like everyone was gloating is just complete nonsense. Yeah, we weren't, were we, to be fair. With Hamza looking done, Kenny fighting with Berlin to leave. We need that centre-back. Robbo isn't good enough, says Scott. In the games we had with Suter, we only conceded 10 goals in 21. Without Suter, it's 10 goals in 8. Wow. Wow. Do we currently have a set-piece coach? No, I don't believe we do. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think we do. FX says, people slagging Robbo should remember all 3 goals came from Manel and Gilchrist's side. Glyn Wilson says, Burnley fan here, Blades and Sunderland dropping points unexpectedly makes Monday even more important. This league is incredible. I agree. It is incredible. And it will swing back the Blades way as well to all the Blades watching. It's a long way from being over. Good bants, Lee, because Lee's still going in chat. Yeah, I'm still way behind. I get it all day long, mate. No issue, and you're welcome. But don't forget, your lot will fall apart again. There's a song for a reason. No problem up here. Mind the gap. Oh, my goodness. Darren says, hi, mate. Leeds fan here. I thought Diaz looked most dangerous player, then took him off. Still fancy you going up. I think that's going to be a medical call, Darren, to be fair. And I hope you're right. Rich says, we've not been the same since Suter got injured. Need a central defender desperately. Playing the same central defenders from last year's disaster is difficult to understand. Chris has just come on for a laugh, which is fair. It's only one game, Jim, says Fran. Our season won't be defined by that game. I agree. It could be by our ability to get a decent defender in. Many twists and turns to come. That's right as well. That's right. Maury got the reference that I was, as did Cooler King. Oh, dearie me. Lee, you've got to calm down in case we lose on Monday. Yeah, that's fair as well, isn't it? Kelvin says, cheers for that result today, chaps. Really enjoyed that. Up the Clarets, up the Ramble. Top man. Thank you, mate. It's going to be a good innit. It's going to be a great run-in. Great run-in. We're still going up, says Westwood. Not up to the task last night. It happens. Every team will go through it. With the current position of the club in general, I'm struggling to be negative, if I'm honest. Up the Blades Ramble. Thank you, pal. Did you watch Connor's facts? I watched his edits, but I've been out all day, so I haven't watched any long form content. Leeds and Burnley's going to get tasty, says Jack. I agree. Liam says some of our fans were an absolute disgrace on social media last night. 50 feet of the season, players out of position due to injuries, new players gelling. Get behind the team. Well said. Well said. What did Jack Robinson Shout at the cop at half time. Don't know. I'm in John Street, so I don't know where he said. Shame you guys let John Egan go now. Could still do a job for you as a squad player, especially whilst you're thin at the back, up the Clarets, up the Ramble. Yeah, John Egan could. I think there's reasons we let John Egan go. For Bri, the copyright is a magazine when Saturday comes. Maybe go with when Saturday comes. Stops the. Oh, that's not a bad idea as well. Yeah, that's not bad. Leaky Lloyd says, at least we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. That's been coming for a while. Definitely should have started with Brewster up top and felt this way myself. Brewster was the only one that on that pitch who was trying at the end, says Beast Boy. I'm trying to get some comments in now that are those that haven't had comments read out. Where are these comments that he's reading out? I can't see any of them, says Michael. Sorry about that, pal. Russ Vernon, sports journalist, says, Leeds fan in peace here. I'm wondering if the disallowed goal, wrongly in my opinion, might have changed the outcome. I don't think so because she looked poor yesterday. It changes the whole momentum of the game, though, Russ, for me. And I'm not, again, we'll never know, will we? So it's easy for me to say, yeah, we'd have gone on to win. It might have just been a draw. But I think the momentum would certainly be with us. And Hull become more shaky. I thought they defended resolutely. So it changes everything, I think. Jackson, the Ghost Boy, says, I think Wilder got more touches than Cannon. Maybe so, maybe so. Mark, good evening, mate. Now the dust has settled. Off night for us, but Hull were very well organised. And you have to take your hats off to them. Well organised. Missed Heyman massively. Had chances, but not to be. Booing, bore off. Yeah, I'm not a fan of booing when we're second in league. Not a great performance, says Chef Paul. We need to move on. Would prefer Burnley to win on Monday, so the gap across the top three is only 1 point. Yeah, there's reasons for it all. And again, I think that's why I'll probably enjoy watching it more than dread watching it, which I usually do when we're watching as rivals. So again, come and join the party on Behind the Ramble. As I say, I've got Jordan Motson with us again. Ian Longley says, I can see why we started Cannon and BBD. I think it was purely down to fresh legs. Seems as though every deflection fell to Hull. Just one of those days. Walt says, no one would have booed in Bassett's days. Fact. Is that a Wilder thing then? Is that a Wilder? I don't know. Alfie comes on just to say Leeds. Well, everybody gets a chance to have their say here, pal. Don't worry about that. Great Bant says, Jim, sorry about Lee Evans. Proud of our fans who don't do this on Leeds channels. Proud of what Wilder has done for our team. I'm proud of our team this season, and I'm proud of this channel. Thank you, pal. I haven't been keeping up with Lee's comments. And to be fair, we always welcome anybody from any team, don't we? I don't know what's been said because I've had to skip over a lot of it to get everybody's comments in. Blade Running says, last night's result was inevitable with no Suter replacement. Get the back line sorted as the defence is the foundation of the team. Only Marsh out on loan. Peck stays with his fiery Blades enthusiasm. Up the Blades. I would like that too, to be honest. Are you Blades worried too many new players could disrupt things, says Rye? There is always that concern. There is always that concern, pal. But I'd rather have the new recruits than not, if you know what I mean, and have that problem to worry about. Mark says, incorrect on Suter, 21 games with 10 goals, conceded 7 games without 10 goals. Okay, fair dues. I think we're just about getting there. Noel says, Leeds fan here, love the banter between you and Connor. Nice to see how you take it as well as dish it out. Just subscribe, great channel. Thank you, Noel. Appreciate that, pal. You've got to do, haven't you? You've got to do. I can't come on here and make clips of Connor whenever things start going wrong for you and then not just take it on chin because it's fair. Okay, so I want to read these next few comments out. Sorry for your loss, Dave, says Jack. I recently lost my granddad. You're amazing, and as a community, we are here for you. Bless you, Dave, says Ian. Thinking of you, pal. Sad to hear that, Dave, says FX. And that was a brilliant thing to do, Jim. Top men both. Thank you. Stephen says, hope you're doing okay, Dave. Sorry for your loss up the Blades. I figured something was up on a few of the live streams, but obviously didn't want to speculate as it's more of a personal thing. Nige says, sorry to hear about your mum, sending condolences to you and your family. You know yourself, we're all here for you, mate, and we all love you, buddy. Top bloke, Dave the Nose Leary. He is. Much love to the Nose, says Toronto Blade. Losing a mum is incredibly tough. Take solace in knowing she's still with you and will always be there for you. I lost my mum 1 year ago. If you need to chat, I'll be here for you. Thank you, Toronto Blade. Sorry for the loss, mate, says Maury. Massive love goes out to you and the family. big cannons that Dave, much respect to you, mate. Rai says, hopefully I speak for all the Leeds fans in saying it takes a lot to come on and say that. Sorry for your loss. Thank you, mate. Thank you. My condolences, Dave, about your mother, says Michael. Time is a great healer, mate. Let's hope more positive Blades results puts you in a better frame of mind going forward. So sorry for your loss, Dave. More important things than football, says Lee. Ian says, sorry for your loss, Dave. The nose, this is what makes the channel worth tuning in for, as we Blades will always be here for you after a very bad day at the office. Thank you, pal. Russ says, so sorry for your loss, Dave. Thinking of you and your family at this sad time. Big love to you, mate. Marching on together and up the Blades. What a lovely thing to say. Leeds, okay. I thought that were going to be another nice message, but they're okay. I appreciate the nice messages that are coming in as well. I'm just going to read the ones about Dave, if I can. Poignant words, Dave. Sorry for your loss. I'm glad that Blades Ramble is proving to be the brotherhood I always thought it would be when it started. Stay strong, pal. Thank you, mate. It's what we're doing. Can't believe what happened last night, says Kel. Just one of those games. Let's hope next match we come back fighting and win. Dave says, Leeds fan here. I know how you're feeling, pal. I lost my dad last week. Oh, my heart goes out to you, pal. I'm so sorry. Hopefully we both go up. Rest in peace, Dad. Rest in peace to you, your dad, and best of luck to you and your family, pal. I rate Cannon, and I'm sure he'll be a top player for it. It seems weird just jumping out in and out of such serious comments, but I want people to also have their say on what they want. So, but really, we should have been making the top centre back our marquee signing. All more than good enough in BBD, Campbell, and Brewster for that 9. We can't be upset with signing Tom Cannon. We can't. Dale says if Burnley and Leeds draw, then it's all he's not lost. The league table stays the same. It does, apart from we're a point worse off, are we? Robbo said, make some noise. Is that what he said to Cop, Jamie? All right, fair dues. Right, okay. I knew you'd be back. I knew you would be back. Take some responsibility, Wilder. Free passes are running out. Ego exceeds ability. For all the Leeds fans in the chat, David Webster is a Blade. And very pro Blades, I have to say, because it's not anti-Wilder. Does not believe in Wilder at all. And he's vocal about it and gets a lot of stick for that, to be fair, but he still comes on and sticks his hand up and says his piece, which is fair. When life throws you lemons, make lemonade, says Paul. Come on, you Blades. Welcome back, Dave Webster, says Maury. And Dave the Nose, who really knows, would like to thank everybody for their comments. And I think that's where we're going to leave it, because that is... there are things more important than football. I know sometimes in the moment, it doesn't feel like it. And football does revolve around people's lives an awful lot, doesn't it? So it does impact people, and we have to be mindful that it does affect some people more than others. Some will look and say, well, why are you getting so upset about a game? Or why are you getting so invested in, it's a football match. My wife is notorious. I love her more than anything. Her and my kids are my life. But it's just a game. It's just a game. Well, it's not to some, is it? I'm fortunate that it does dictate my mood, but it doesn't send me to the depths, that it can do. It does other people. So we need to be mindful of other people, the way other people take it. But there are, when we strip everything back, there are more important things than football. So thank you to everybody that's joined me tonight. This one goes out to Dave the Nose and his family. I hope you're okay, pal. And come on, you red and white wizards. We'll be back. Don't worry, Blades. You'll probably see me soon, won't you? Because Hamza Choudhury is just around the corner. Get them notifications on. Oh, I've also, by the way, while you're here, I almost forgot to show you this. This is coming up. It's out for Platinum Ramblers now. It's already sorted, but this is coming up soon. That actually says when Jimmy met Cal. So I've done a ramble with the one and only Callum Fowler. If you don't know who he is, give the video a watch and you soon will, but I'm sure you already do. So yeah, top man, Cal. Thank you for your time on that, mate. Really enjoyed doing it with you. And for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Of the Blades!